Hey everyone. So I wanted to jump on here and talk about something that we haven't yet talked about. And I know we've covered a lot of the financial, technical, fundamental side of stock investing, stock trading. But one of the things that we haven't really talked about yet is the personal aspect of what it's like to actually day to day be a stock trader. So I wanted to address it. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. And one of the things that I've noticed, at least in my short time on TikTok and social media doing this whole stock thing, is that a lot of people look to the stock market like it's their ticket to millions, right? Because a lot of the people on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, who are selling courses are selling the promise of lots and lots of money. If you go on any of their social media pages, they're showing you that they're living this insane life. They've got private jets, they've got helicopters, they've got condos in Miami, they've got garages full of nice cars, all meant to entice you into buying their course. They're not telling you anything about what they teach, what their course promises. They're just showing you the lifestyle and going, see what I have, you can have it too if you just traded stocks. And so it creates this false sense of what it's really like to be a stock trader. People come online and they see fancy cars and they go, oh, I want to be a stock trader. I want to be a stock trader because I want tons of money. Well, the reality for the great many of us who are actual stock traders is not a lot of us are millionaires. What we do and what we have is a much higher quality of life because we're not waking up at 6 in the morning, showering, getting dressed, putting on a suit, putting on a tie, picking up our briefcase, getting in our car, driving in traffic for an hour, getting to an office, dreading seeing our colleagues, our boss, having to sit in on some meeting, just going through the motions, getting yelled at, getting lectured, going through the motions, coming home at the end of a long day, cranky, tired, exhausted, maybe drowning in debt. That's what we're getting away from. It's that 9 to 5 status quo that stock traders, at least personally, are glad that we're getting away from. So a lot of people say, well, if you're not a millionaire, if I'm not going to become a millionaire trading stocks, then I don't want to do it. It's not worth my time. And I think that is a humongous mistake. I'm not encouraging everyone to go out and start trading stocks, but if it's a career that you're potentially interested in, and the only thing that's making you say, I don't know if I want to do this, is that you're not going to become a millionaire, then you're missing the point. The point of being a stock trader is that you live below your means, you save, you invest, personally funnel the money from my stock trades into my long-term investments instead of buying fancy cars. Although a lot of you know that I am going to buy the new Bronco. Instead of buying fancy cars, instead of buying fancy shoes, instead of buying fancy clothes, instead of buying gadgets, endless tech, endless things, keeping up with the Joneses, I take my money that I make from trading and I funnel it. And you can still do those things, by the way, if you work a 9 to 5 life, right? It's the rat race that we're being sold this idea of from corporations. We know your life sucks. We know you're having a hard time, but wouldn't your life be a little nicer, a little more comfortable if you were driving to that same office to do that same job in an Audi or a Beamer or a Benz? And we feed into that narrative and we buy into that narrative. And that is what causes us perpetual misery because we're always trying to fill the void. Oh yeah, if I only had an Audi, then my life would be better. Then I wouldn't hate everything so much. So we buy the Audi and we feel great for a week or two. And then, we realize I'm paying $700 a month in car payments to go to the same job that I hate, to go to the same office that I hate, to do the same job with the same boss and the same colleagues. And that wears us down. I don't have that concern. I would encourage you to not have that concern either, keeping up with the Joneses. If you still have to work that 9 to 5 life, live simply, embrace some of the tenets, not all maybe, of minimalism, but some of them. Live below your means and funnel the money into your investments long term so you can have a higher quality of life. And while you are hopefully retired earlier than everyone else, sitting on a beach, sitting somewhere on vacation, drinking a Mai Tai, everyone else is going to still be going through the motions, paying off their car payments, paying off their fancy lifestyle, and they're going to still be working. That is the goal of being a stock trader. So what is it like? I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about relationships and dating, or being married, and being a trader. And then I want to talk about the more personal day-to-day aspect of it. And maybe some like isolation or loneliness if you're the type to get lonely. So it was asked of me on TikTok. Someone wanted to know, is your wife or partner okay with you being a stock trader? And my response was, well, we broke up a couple years ago, so she's fine with it. The reality is, for a lot of relationships, being a stock trader is an unknown. It's not like you're going to an office every day where you receive a set salary, or going to a job every day where you get a minimum wage, or you're paid by the hour. We don't have that as stock traders. If you are the type who can save money, live below your means, and know like September, the month that we're currently in, is historically a bad month for the stock market. You might have also heard the expression sell in May and go away. That's another expression in the stock market. May and the summer months are typically quiet. September is typically bad. We start to pick up again around the holiday season, and markets start going again. If you know this as a stock trader, your goal is to reserve some capital, hold on to some savings, so you can get through the quiet month. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be making any trades. It just means potentially that you're going to be making less. For me, September has not been a great month, and I have been living off of my savings because I don't have as much coming in through my gains. That can be fine if you're single. If you have no one else worrying about finances, no one else that you're worried about taking care of, say a partner, a stay-at-home partner, a kid, elderly parents who are living with you, whatever the situation may be, if you don't have that, great. It's just you. It's fine. You can cut back. You can eat ramen if you have to. You don't have to go out. You don't have to, do all those relationship, datey kind of things. When you add another person into the mix, it adds an element of angst because you don't know what kind of person that you're dating. They might have a lot of anxiety around money and finance. They might not like the idea that 1 month to the next, you don't know what you're bringing home. That's a real concern. If I'm going to an office, and by the way, just because you go to an office doesn't mean your job is guaranteed, as we're seeing now because of coronavirus, and as we've seen in the past every couple of years when there's another big recession and big sweeping layoffs, nothing is guaranteed. Which is why it's crucial to have savings, crucial to have at least 6 months of every single expense completely covered that you can ride the storm. That's the big problem our country faces, is most people don't have savings. And every time, and we're a little naive in the sense that these big recessions come every couple years, right? There's recessions every 4 to 12 years, depending on the size and severity of them. You don't have savings, and yet we don't learn from these mistakes. We keep, it's like the Iraq War, when the price of oil and gas skyrocketed. Do you remember? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're younger. But I sure remember the price of gas going from $2 or $3 a gallon to $5 or $6 a gallon here in Washington, D.C. And everyone was panicking, and they were going, we don't have enough money to pay for our giant SUVs that only get 12 miles to the gallon. People were dumping their SUVs in droves. They were selling them as fast as they could, as low as they could, just dumping them and getting Toyota Priuses and more fuel efficient cars. And there was this mass panic to get rid of these gas guzzling SUVs because the gas prices are too high. And as soon as the war ended and Bush was out of the White House and Obama was in the White House and stuff started happening, gas prices started slowly coming back down, everyone ran out and bought a new SUV. Right? So we don't seem to learn from our mistakes. We don't seem to learn from our past. We don't look around and go, gee, these recessions, if you're a kid and you're watching your parents sitting at the table at night with the calculator and all their bills piled up going, oh my God, how are we gonna pay? We're gonna have to make ends meet. We might be living paycheck to paycheck for a while or worse. You would think that people would say, you know what? It's important to have savings going forward. And the problem is, we don't really do that. And so, when you're a stock trader, it's especially crucial. But your partner might not like the idea that your income is not guaranteed. Even if you were going to an office, your income is not guaranteed. You can get fired like that. That wasn't a good snap. Because I put lotion on my hands. There you go. Your job, you can be laid off in a second. And then what do you do? So, there's risk associated with everything. Obviously, there's more associated with the stock market because instead of going out and earning your money by doing your job, as a stock trader, you need money to do your job. You can't be a trader without money. It can be hard in a relationship when one month is good and the next is bad. And that's why it's crucial. There's this a lot of divorce attorneys will tell you that you can argue with your partner about politics, you can argue with your partner about religion, and still be okay with them, but it's money at the end of the day. Money is what causes massive problems in relationships and marriage. And so the best thing you can do is clue your partner in, right? The best thing you can do is before you move in and before you get married and before maybe you have a family if you want kids, the best thing you can do is sit down with your partner and explain to them what your lifestyle looks like so they can get a good gauge as to whether or not they can ride out this storm with you. And there will be storms. There will be a lot of them. It's important to sit down with them and say, my income is not guaranteed. As a result, I save more than I spend. So if you're looking to have a partner who's going to spoil you and take you all over and buy you nice things or endlessly be going out for luxurious, nice dinners, I'm maybe not that guy for you or that partner for you because it's more important for me to save and prepare for the coming eventual storms that there will be. It's important to have those conversations with your partner so they know what they're getting into. Because I have met plenty of people, and when I tell them I'm a stock trader, they have no idea what that means. Stock trading? Like the stock market? Are you like a broker? And then they'll often say like, oh, my dad or my mom had a broker. Are you a broker? The level of knowledge in this country that we have about personal finance is so low that if I said, I worked at McDonald's, they would have more of an understanding of what I did, right? And they would have questions. Oh, you work at McDonald's. Are you the fry guy? Are you the cashier? Are you the custodian? What do you do? Do you work the drive-through? What do you do there? And they would be able to ask questions. But when I tell people that I'm a stock trader, the room gets quiet, man. It's crickets. Because they just are like, oh, that's interesting. And then they change the subject. So it's important when you meet someone that you kind of educate them and tell them what you do and how it works. And tell them things are going to be rough from time to time. That's why I have savings. There might be months where I'm able to contribute more to the household bills and stuff like that. And there might be months where it's incumbent upon you to pick up the slack. If that doesn't appeal to them, maybe you two aren't going to be a good mix. So the relationship side of things It can cause a lot of tension. The other thing is that they have to understand that there will be huge losses occasionally. Hopefully not huge if you stick to your plan, right? If you're a trader and you're waking up every day going, I'm going to make a trade, I'm going to buy 1,000 shares of this company or 500 shares or whatever, and if it goes down 2 or 3 or 5% or whatever stop you have chosen, then you can minimize your losses, right? You can minimize them. One of the things you need to talk about with your partner is that there will be losses. Unfortunately, it's part of the job. If you deem 2 or 3%, 5% stop loss to be something you're comfortable with losing, you need to share that with them. You need to tell them, look, there are going to be days when I pull in a couple of losses. There's going to be days where I'm making tons of profits, right? This week I'm up $1,500, $1,800, and then before you know it, you buy a stock and it looks like it's breaking out to the upside, it reverses course, it goes lower, and now all of a sudden you're down to 1,500. So you never want to put all your eggs in one basket. You never want to live beyond your means. You never want to say, hey, I'm making this now, so I'm always going to be making it. Let's live it up because I'm doing so well, because you never know what's just around the corner. The second element to life as a stock trader that is super important and is something we need to talk about is, if you are a very social person, you are going to have a very hard time being a stock trader. Reason being, you're working alone. You're in your house, by yourself potentially, every single day. Whether if you have a partner or if you're single, that's something to consider, right? If you have a partner, then you've got a companion. Maybe they're working from home now because of COVID as well. That could be a problem. If you're both working from the same house, you might get on each other's nerves. Hopefully that's just COVID related though, and it'll go away in the future. But a lot of questions have come my way about how do you deal with the loneliness? How do you deal with the isolation? Do you miss people? Do you miss interacting? And luckily for me, I am an introvert. I could be a hermit. I don't have to see people. I don't have to socialize. I don't have to do any of those things. I can. I'm good at it. I like socializing. But if I didn't do it, I'd be okay. You might have a different opinion. You might really like being the social guy at the office who's walking around saying, hey, hi, what's up? You might like that. You might like sitting at the water cooler or sitting in the break room talking about football or movies or whatever show you're watching. You might really miss that aspect of office life. It's something that you have to consider. Here's what my day generally looks like in case you're curious. Stock market opens at 9:30. A lot of people come on these apps and say, well, do you do pre-market? Do you do any pre-market trading? No, the reason I don't isn't because it's good or it's bad or it's volatile or any of those things. It's because I don't want to wake up that early. That's the luxury that I have being a self-employed stock trader. That's something else that we benefit from when we're our own boss. Not only do we have a higher quality of life, but we don't have to wake up at 6:30. We don't have to have an hour commute. We don't have to put on a suit and tie. I can work in a bathrobe if I want to. And oftentimes I do. Stock market opens at 9:30. I'm usually up at 9:20. Seriously. I wake up at 9:20 most mornings. I stay up late doing work, looking over the market for the next day and preparing. I don't even have an alarm. I got a good body clock. I just know. I wake up at 9:20 usually, most times, most mornings. Wake up, roll out of bed, go into the kitchen, make a latte, go back to my desk, and wait for the market to open. Once the market is open, it's usually that first half hour. I get a lot of questions, as a stock trader, can you pick the hours that you want to work? No, usually you can't, right? It's not like you can say, I'm going to work the morning or I'm going to work the night. A lot of people who work from home have problems because there's no set schedule, right? They just have to get the project done. But it's not like, by the next day, for example. So a lot of people will piss around all day and go to the gym, go to the yoga class and sleep in and watch TV. And then late at night, just like in high school, they'll go, oh fuck, the project is due. And then they'll be up all night working. As a stock trader, you don't have that. Your hours are 9:30 to 4, no matter what, because that's when the market is open. So you can't slouch around all day and just, I'll trade stocks tonight. Now there are things you can trade, Forex, currency, that's currency, or cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and that kind of stuff. You can trade all night. But for the most part, if you're dealing with stocks, 9:30 to 4, man, that's your day. So I wake up, I have usually it's a matcha latte. I actually put a link in the link tree below because some people on TikTok were asking what I drink, what brand. So it's there if you're curious. And the first half hour as a day trader are when I'm looking to make my plays. If I'm swing trading, in other words, holding something for an extended period, a couple days, maybe a week, maybe 2, maybe longer. It depends on what the stock is doing that morning. If I'm looking for a trade to make, I'm focused on my screen at 9:30. 9:30 to around 11 is when all the good stuff happens. And people ask me to do live trades, and I'm like, you'd be bored because live trades, they look like this. I just sit there. I just sit and I wait. I'm waiting for the chart to break out. I'm waiting for the chart to reverse course and sell off so I can sell and lock in a profit, or maybe take a loss and move on. Most of my trades are made in the first hour, hour and a half of the day. I wait. If it's bad news, right, if the market opens down, big sell-off, then what I'm waiting for is a bounce play, something that I can jump in as it's starting to rebound, sell off, and usually it goes back down. And that maybe presents for another late afternoon trade as a possibility. If the stock crashes down, has a little morning bounce, and then goes way lower, I wait and I look at the relative strength index as we're heading into the now close. So my afternoon, after I've made my morning trades, my afternoon is usually pretty lax. In the afternoon, I'll go to the gym, I'll come home, take a look at the stocks. I'm always on my phone at the gym in between sets because you never know. It's not like I just get up and walk away if I have trades. If I do have a trade that I'm looking to make, but I'm also getting ready for the gym, I will put in a sell order. Hey, if this stock gets to $3.15, sell it, because I'm not looking at the screen. And now often, if that's the case, if I'm driving to the gym or whatever, and I know I'm not going to be able to look, I often set my sell order a little lower than what I hope because I'm not looking at the screen. If I'm sitting at the actual screen, I can wait. I can go, all right, it's moving higher, it's moving higher. Oh, it broke out. Oh, it's moving even higher. Oh, it's now overbought. Too many people are in the stock. It's going to reverse course any minute now. I'm going to get out right here. I can usually gauge where we are on the rally. But if I'm going somewhere, if I'm driving to the gym, and I think, in my mind, I think this stock could get to 320, 325, but I'm not going to be looking and I don't really know, I'm going to set my sell order at 315. Aim a little lower. That way, if your indications and your technical analysis are right, at least you'll make some of the money before the big sell-off comes. And once I get to the gym, I'll check. If the stock is still hovering around 315 or a little lower, I'll cancel my order. And then I'll just keep an eye on it as I'm at the gym in between sets. Looking. Oh, it's breaking out. Here we go. Oh, it's 315 now. But it's pushing higher. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see what it does. Oh, it's 320 now. I'm looking at the chart and I go, you know what? I'm happy with my profit here. I'm out. But for the most part, the afternoons are a little bit quieter. And then, like I said, as we start heading into the close, if we've had a very steep down day, usually there might be a small recovery into the close as people are looking and going, hey, there are bargains here. There are little deals here. I can get this stock. It's down 12% today. I can buy a little here. And so you might see a little afternoon recovery. Might. You have to pay attention to the news. If it's really grim, really bad news, sorry, man. You're not going to maybe see a recovery because there might be more selling in the next day and the day after. So it's important, obviously to look at the charts and gauge what's going on based on the news. So my two big trades of the day are in the morning and towards the end of the day leading into the close if there's a rally. I will be maybe buying something into that closing rally, or if I'm holding it through the morning, maybe I bought it on the afternoon dip. Now I'm really focused, again, just looking at the chart, into the close. If I'm day trading the stock, the traditional day trade is at the end of the close, you sell out everything, win, lose, or draw, and you start fresh the next day. I don't do that. If I think we're heading into a rally after that big sell-off, for example, I'll hold my position overnight and into the next morning's rally, right? If there's a continuation of the rally the following morning, then I'll hold my position into that next day. So if it's Monday, then the Tuesday morning I wake up and I'm glued to my screen and I'm watching, we have a morning rally. I don't care. I'm not being greedy here. I take my profit, I get out. Maybe we have an all-day rally. Terrific. But if I have a plan and I hit my goal, I take it. Unless I see a real rally, you make judgment calls during the course of the day. Yes, if you have a goal, like my goal is 200 per trade. If I have 200 right at the open and we keep going, and that stock is 300 now, 400 now, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, I'm going, you know what? I'm going to let this ride. If it starts pulling back, maybe if it's at the $400 profit, if we start pulling back, I'm still going to hold. If we hit 350, that's when I get out because it's a bonus. My goal was 200. I made 350. I made 150 more than I thought. Yes, it was at 4. Now it's pulled back. You can argue about those things. Oh, if I had held, if I had sold, I could have had 400, but that's a mistake. The way you have to look at it is the stock starts to pull back is anything over your goal is bonus money. And you can then use that bonus money to buy a long-term investment. For example, maybe you get a couple of shares of this or one share of that, like if it's Apple. When the market closes at 4 o'clock, the next thing that I do is I have homework, I'll come out, I'll sit on my couch, I'll watch the news, I'll watch a TV show, maybe I get dinner with friends or whatever like that. In the evening, I come back and I have homework. I have these websites that I go to, like investorsbusinessdaily.com. I think the website is just investors.com. I go on there, I look at the top stocks of the day, and I write them all down. And I'll go on and I'll look at the fundamentals, I'll look at the technical analysis, I'll look at the charts, and I'll see, oh, this looks good. I'm going to keep this on my radar for tomorrow. Or, oh, this one doesn't look so good, but I'm intrigued because of the last, say, month of charts are setting up to look like something could be happening, but maybe not yet. So that's my day. If you are the type to be very lonely, if you miss interacting with people, if you don't think you could sit by yourself all day and not go fucking crazy, then maybe stock trading isn't for you. Or maybe it is for you and you just find a way to get social interaction. For me, it's going to the gym. All of my friends come from the gym. I have a couple of friends through TikTok and through social media that I have made who are trader friends. And I'll talk to them throughout the day. We'll message back and forth. Hey, Jamie, what are you buying? Oh, I don't know. I'm buying this. What are you buying? But for me, I don't need too much social interaction. So it's fine. It suits me. If it's something you really need, you might want to look into something like one of those communal offices where people rent a space if they tend to work from home, but they still miss that office environment. There are communal offices where you can rent a station or whatever. You could go to Starbucks. You could go to different coffee shops every day, hit them up. On Tuesday I go to Saxby's in Georgetown, and on Wednesday I go to the Starbucks up by Fox Hall, and then on Thursday I'll go to this place, and I'll get lunch here, and I'll get lunch there, and pick up little bits of social interaction everywhere you go. You recognize other people, you strike up conversations. If that's important to you, that's a workaround. But I thought it was important to hop on here and talk about the two sides of trading that is often forgotten, which is how to handle it in relationships, because people fight about money all the time. And if your partner doesn't understand the complexities of what you do, it could open up to big fights. When you say, hey, this month I've only made 3 trades and they were all losses, and it's either I have to dip into my savings or you got to cover the groceries this month. And hey, next month if I have a better month, then I'll cover the groceries. If you have a partner who's like, nope, you're the breadwinner, you do all the work, you make all the money, you might have big problems. And the other aspect is the isolation and the loneliness. If it's something that is a concern to you, it's something that you need to be aware of. there's a lot of isolation in this job. Now, a lot of my trader friends have kids, so they're going to the park, they're taking their kids out, they're stay-at-home parents. Maybe it works, maybe it benefits because they can be on their phones casually looking at their stocks. If they have swing trades, they have more of a higher quality of life. They can spend more time with their family. They can spend more time with their kids. If you are a stock trader, another huge benefit of it, one of my other friends, Edu, he's just like a nomad. They go wherever they want. And that's a life that appeals to me, living very below my means, traveling, looking at my stocks, making a little bit less than I need. Believe it or not, you can get by with making a little bit less than you need if you have a very low cost of living. If you don't live beyond your means, you can actually get by making a little bit less than you would in an office. Because think about it. You're not driving anymore, which means you can call your insurance and negotiate a lower rate. You aren't spending as much on gas anymore. You're not getting dry cleaning. You're not going out for lunches. You're not going out for coffee. You're not doing all these things. So you can actually make a little bit less and still be very comfortable working for yourself, living by yourself, working from home. The thing I would say is make sure that you're not shopping at home because you're bored and you're lonely. I think a lot of people are doing that. It's a way to fill a void. I go downstairs in my building and there are packages and packages and packages from Amazon every day because everyone's working from home and they're bored, so they're just shopping a little bit. So that's another thing that you need to be aware of as a trader, is to not fill voids by either eating too much or drinking too much or shopping too much because you're lonely. I hope this video was informative and helpful. I hope you learned something. If you did, please click on the bell so you get notifications when I do new videos. Give this channel a subscribe. Follow me on TikTok. And thanks for watching and have a good day.